Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Really, our plan was only talking in English. But if we speak in Kurdish, that will be taking a long time. I believe everybody can understand English, isn't it? Yeah? So we're going to start with the English only, inshallah. So everybody's understand English. Okay. And we have some topic in Kurdish as well for our Kurdish brother, inshallah. Let's start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear respected guests, brother and sister, good afternoon and very warm welcome to you all. It's a great pleasure to see so many young people, community members, and friends gathering here today at Mawlawi Kurdish Cultural Center. On behalf of the UK Kurdish Association and our center, I would like to thank each one of you for joining us for this important event. Today's gathering is about inspiration, guidance, and opportunity. We are here to support and encourage our young people to take meaningful steps towards a brighter and successful future, a future where they play an active role in public life and proudly represent our community in the UK. We are truly honored to welcome our distinguished guest, Mr. Afzal Khan, member of the UK Parliament, and Mr. Sarbaz Bazenji, Councillor of London Lambeth and former Mayor. Mr. Nizawesi, UK Kurdish Association Secretary, and Brother Aram Chow Shin is head of the young of the UK Kurdish Association. All of these respected leaders have shown great commitment and service to their communities, and today they will share their personal journey and advice with us. Their experience will help guide our young people to understand how they too can become active, confident, and successful members of society. This event is also a reminder that every great journey starts with one small step. Success doesn't come overnight. It comes from hard work, patience, and believing yourself. So to all the young people here, this is your time, your opportunity, and your future. Learn, ask questions, and take inspiration from today's speakers. Today's will learn the power of positive thinking, how your mindset shapes your future. Believe in yourself before others do, building self-confidence and resilience. From failure to success, learn from mistakes and never give up. Dream big, start small, act now, turning dreams into achievable goals. Public life belongs to all of us. How to learn success. This is all the topics we are today's talking about. Once again, I thank you. I thank our guest, organizer, and everyone who helped make this event possible. I also thank you all for attending and supporting our community. I wish you a wonderful afternoon full of learning and inspiration. Thank you very much. I would like to introduce and welcome Sir Mr. Afzal Khan. Briefly introduce Mr. Afzal Khan, Muhammad Afzal Khan, CBE, born 5th April 1958 in Jhelum, Pakistan. Is a British Labour Party politician and lawyer. He came to the UK as a child, worked in various jobs, and later qualified as a solicitor. He was elected a Manchester City Councillor in 2000 and became the first Muslim Lord Mayor of Manchester 2005-2006. In recognition of his community and interfaith work, he was awarded the CBE in 2008. Mr. Afdal Khan served as a member of the European Parliament 2014-2017 and has been MP for Manchester Gorton since 2017, and he's a MP of Manchester, the worldwide, the Russian-wide, which is many areas in Manchester. He has focused on quality, social justice, and community cohesion throughout his career. Very welcome, Sir Mr. Khan, to deliver your speech.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Let me start by first of all thanking my dear brother and all our, of course, our mayor from all the way from London here as well. Welcome to Manchester. It's a pleasure for me to share some of my thoughts on this subject. But I want to thank the UK Kurdish Association and of course the local mosque, the work that they are doing. If I start by saying, number one, you just had a quick brief introduction about my sort of political career. Somewhat is interesting journey because I came from Pakistan, I was adopted, I left school. And I usually make a joke and I say, I left school with 9 no levels. I did not pass any exams. Then with doing lots of different jobs, I realized, end of the day, education is important. It's the education which opens the doors. And if I want to have a successful, good life, then I need to study. And I went back as a mature student and studied. And then qualified as a lawyer, and then became a partner. From there, I came into politics. And this is the key, ultimately, why I'm here today speaking with you. Because at the heart of this idea is this. We, as humans, are lucky to be born, and to be born as humans, and then to be born here in the UK, or being grown up here in the UK, where we have so many opportunities. And as humans, we have the amazing potential. Every single human is incredible, is unique, and the potential is huge. The real thing is, what do we do with this potential? If we use this potential, then we can achieve so much. Sky is the limit. And if we don't, the time does not stop for anyone. Time carries on. So it's what we do with that time which makes the difference. And I've seen that once I came into this process of making sure that doing something where you can bring benefit to others, and that stems from my very basic teachings of Islam. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the best among humanity are those who bring benefit to others. So bringing that benefit to others is the core idea where we need to work and do that. And if you don't do that, then what you're going to do is you're going to be letting someone else do it. And you will be wasting your life away. The second point, I think, is that if you are engaged, then of course you make that difference. And that means that you know yourself better than anyone else. So you will know what your needs are. And if it's your community, same. You come from that community. And therefore, the needs of the community don't need to be explained. Anyone else, you have to explain. And then you have to rely on them understanding or having the priority. Because they may understand, they may not have that priority. So that is the other difference by being there. And this is why I've often said to the young people, listen, you can only score a goal if you're playing football. If you are not playing football, you cannot score a goal. The best you can do is outside the field and clap. And that's the difference, being engaged. And this is why when I got into the politics, because I wanted to make sure that as myself, as for my family, as for my community, I wanted to be on the table. There's a famous saying of, I think it's Malcolm X, Malk Shabazz, and he said that if you are not on the dining table, if you're not on the dining table, you are on the menu. Now, let that sink. If you're not on the dining table, you are on the menu. And that, again, is the reason we need to be engaged, so you can enjoy the meal rather than to be the meal. There's a big difference. And I think this is the second point I want to say. And then I want to say is that, yes, as my journey will show to you, that it's never easy, because anything worth achieving requires a degree of sacrifice. And that again comes back to you. You've got to be willing to put an effort. If you don't put an effort, things are not going to be given to you on the plate. So that, I think, is the second point you've got to understand, that you've got to be engaged and then you've got to put an effort in. And there will be ups and downs, there will be challenges, but if you are consistent, you keep making the effort, success will come to you. There's no ifs and buts on that. Success will come to you. And then I think if I look at it, I shared with you when I became the Lord Mayor, as to you heard, I was the first Muslim Lord Mayor of this amazing city of Manchester. Now, when I decided to stand for to be the Lord Mayor, I went to see the leader of the council. And I said to him that, look, I'm interested in standing to be the Lord Mayor of Manchester. And I said, do you think it's a good idea? And will you support me? And he looked at me and he said, yes, I think it's a good idea and I will support you. And then I said to him, do you think I'm going to win? And he looked at me, he smiled, and he said, no. Seriously, he said no. And I thought to myself, well, if it's a no, what's the point going for it? If you're going to lose, what's the point doing it? Then I thought about it, I took some advice, and my friend said to me, no, you got to do it. Because if you don't do it, the result is no. Yes. By doing it, it may be yes. So this is the key. By doing it, the result may be yes. And I did, and the result was yes. It was tough, very tight. There was only a difference of 3 votes, but I won. And that is the point. Again, I want to leave with you that, look, never be shy, never be afraid, even for the losing. Because even if you lose, you have gained experience. And that means next time you'll be better. By not doing it, you don't gain experience. So whenever there's opportunity, you have to take it, and you've got to take it with both hands. And then, of course, things went out. And then down the road, I became the Mayor of the Year. A Mayor of the Year, what it means is, they have looked at all the mayors in the country and chosen you to be the best. This is how you become Mayor of the Year. And I was given that. And what's interesting is, no one before me in Manchester has ever won that prize. And more interesting, after, still no one has won that prize. I'm the only one in Manchester who actually won that prize. Again, makes me proud, makes my community proud. And that's what it's all about, making sure that you shine. And when you shine, that light then also reflects on the society and on your community, which is also important. That then took me to stand for the European Member of Parliament. Now, I never wanted to be Member of European Parliament. The reason I stood for Member of European Parliament was, in Northwest, we had Nick Griffin, who was the leader of the British National Party, whose agenda was anti-Muslim, whose agenda was to spread hate, whose agenda was to spread division in the society. And I knew, as a Muslim, as someone who is British, I don't want to have a leadership who is dividing people. I want to see a leadership which wants to unite people. So again, I stood for that reason. And guess what? During the campaign, Nick Griffin sent a message to every single house. As a European Parliament, at the moment we are out of it, but at the time when the election happens, they have a right as a party to send a leaflet to every single house at the expense of the government. And in that leaflet, the BNP said one thing, they have a message. And we said, look, there will be 8 people who will be elected in the Northwest, and the last seat is between me, Nick Griffin, and a Muslim Labour. So he used this terminology, Muslim Labour. So he connected it. He was trying to use that same message, he thought, because the majority of the people in the Northwest are white. Majority of the people are non-Muslim. Therefore, bringing the faith in of the division will help him. But on the election night, I won. He lost. It goes back to the same point, because if you're not in it, you cannot win it. And that took me to the European Parliament, and then, of course, to the British Parliament, and the final, which I'll share with you, and I'll leave 1 or 2 quick messages, because I have a good brother here who can share with you his experience as well. When I got elected in Manchester to be the MP, I was again the first black, first Muslim, first Asian to be the MP of Manchester. I won. For my bad luck, my opponent was George Galloway. And I thought, wow, I had Nick Griffin before. Yeah. Now for an MP, I have George Galloway. But alhamdulillah, my result was the highest vote in the history of Manchester. And sadly for George, his was the lowest of his whole life experience. Now, when I got there, after 3 weeks, I was asked by the leader, at that time was Jeremy Corbyn. He said, I'd like you to be the shadow minister. 3 weeks' time. I've only been an MP for 3 weeks. I looked at him and I said, Jeremy, I've only got here now. I don't know my left to right. And you want me to be the shadow minister for immigration, which is a hot potato, you can see even today. Yeah. It's a difficult subject. It's a difficult area. And he looked at me, he smiled, and he said, yes, I know you only got here now, but I also know you got lots of experience. Now, I was genuinely, I share with you this, I was genuinely scared. I thought this is a too big a jump. Yeah, I've just become an MP, and straightway to become a minister. Yeah, the risk is I'll make mistake, and if you make in politics mistake, there's no second chance. You usually come down. And I said to him, I need time to think. And he looked at me, smiled, and he said, you got till tomorrow. So that's all the time I had, one day, to decide yes or no. Again, I took advice. So never lose this idea of taking advice from someone who you respect, someone you think has the experience. Advice is also a very powerful tool. I took that, and they said to me, these opportunities at this level don't come every day. Take it. It'll be tough, it'll be difficult, but if you work hard, very quickly you will overcome this. And that's what I did. I went on then from shadow immigration minister to be the shadow foreign office minister. From foreign office minister, I became the deputy leader of the house. From there, I became the shadow justice minister. From shadow minister, I became shadow trade. And then with the Gaza, I resigned as a shadow minister. Alhamdulillah, I did the right thing. Yeah, I have no regrets. But I've had the experience of all those different ministerial positions. Again, this comes from that. So finally, I want to leave with you is this, that I've already said that as individuals, our capacity is incredible. Allah has blessed us. It's about using that which is the key. And for that, we need to be coming forward. And my message to you is very simple. Don't be shy. Take that risk. Take that forward. And aim high. And work hard. Aim high, work hard. These are the two golden rules. If you aim high, even if you don't get to the top, you'll get somewhere good. But if you never aim, you'll get nowhere. You'll just keep going around the circle. And second is working hard. Anything worth achieving requires hard work. Without hard work, something which is worth, you will never get. If it was that easy, everybody would get it. That's why only few people get it, because it requires hard work. And the consistency is the secret. So consistent in your goals, keep going, and working hard, aiming high. And that is all with you, with nobody else. And that's what you got to do. So I hope some of those young people who are in this room now actually make that. And I do hope that the center like yourself and the Kurdish Association, one of our responsibility is to doing events like this where we bring those young people. And in those young people, we have to inculcate the leadership qualities. Doesn't matter which field they go in. What matters is you develop in our young people the leadership qualities. So then whichever direction they move, they will be successful. They will be proud of themselves. They'll have a wonderful life. They'll be proud. We will be proud of them as well. And so will be Britain. Thank you very much. I hope you have a very successful rest of the program. I'm going to have to leave soon because I already had another engagement. And I've been told there's a lovely dinner which I'm going to miss. Yeah. So I'm going to take it. I owe you. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for your kind advice and sharing with us your experience. And really, myself, I get lots of benefit from that. Hope all the success for Brother Afzal Khan. Alhamdulillah, he's, mashallah, very friendly, very active, and he is here always. When we need him, he is here really. We definitely support you, and because you are supporting us all the time. Thank you very much, and very good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and really we enjoyed and learning from his experience. Our next guest, Brother Sheikh Sarbaz Bazenji, is a British Kurdish politician, engineer, and community leader. He came to the UK as a teenage refugee from Kurdistan, and later earned a baccalaureate and master degree in civil and structural engineering from City University of London. Professionally, he has worked as a structural engineer and university lecturer, researching advanced technologies in construction and nuclear safety. In public service, he represents Brixton Acre Lane Ward in Lambeth Council of the Labour Party. He serves as a Deputy Mayor 2022 and 2023, and then as a mayor of Lambeth 2023-2024, becoming the first Kurdish mayor in the UK. As a mayor, he supported charities helping refugees and the homeless, and often highlighted his journey from refugee to public servant as an example of hope and inclusion. Very welcome, Mr. Sarbas Bazanji, to deliver your speech. The topic is about public life belong to all of us. Very welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. I've got my speech ready, but I don't think I'm going to be reading all through it. So we're going to make it informal and continue in informal conversational type, if that's okay with you. And thank you very much for your patience. It took us about 5 hours all the way from London to get here. The weather is not really good today, but was eager to come and meet you all here for this important meeting here. It is really important, and the topic that I would like to discuss today with you is contributing positively to the public life and what it means to serve the community. Now I know public life can sound like a big phrase and only reserved for politicians in Westminster or people in suits and all this out-of-touch people, but for me, it's a lot more simpler than that. Public life for me, it means caring to step up, caring to start, showing up and standing up for your community, being part of the solution rather than sitting on the sideline and complain and wait for somebody else to sort it out for you. Or often you hear people, somebody else will sort it out for me. I think before I go into details, it's wise for me to discuss my journey, how I ended up being a councillor, and how I ended up in public life. I came to the United Kingdom when I was a small teenager. Knowing very little English, it was difficult for me to communicate. Everything was new, the culture was new, the language is new, the community, everything was very new for me. So it was difficult for me to adjust and adapt. But I had a hope, I had a vision, I had desire to make sure that I have to give back to the community that welcomed me with open arms. When I first attended a school, I attended a sixth form school doing my GCSEs. The first day at school, I thought the teacher that comes to teach us will be Kurdish. But to my surprise, I was disappointed. An English teacher came in, started talking about science, math, and all the subjects that I was doing for my A-levels. I'm sure all the rest of you who are doing A-levels and GCSEs have experienced what all these topics are and what these subjects are. As soon as the teacher walked in, he started diving into the topic, and I was wandering around, what is this teacher talking about? I wasn't understanding anything what the teacher was saying. But I had a desire. I told myself, I said, I'm going to have to make a difficult decision and continue this journey. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to leave the school. I'm going to continue. That's what I did. It took me about a few weeks to understand at least what they were saying. In 6 months, I was able to understand, and I was able to communicate with my peers, my friends, and the teachers. But I was lucky. I was doing math, physics, biology, chemistry, which doesn't require a lot of English. mostly numbers and all the rest of it, but nevertheless it was still difficult. These few 6 months have helped me to gain a good understanding how the language works. I was able to communicate with my teachers. I was able to express, at least formulate the questions. If I weren't able to understand something, I could formulate it to the teachers that what is that I'm not understanding. That was really a turning point, because at that moment I was able to understand my surrounding, and that was a big achievement for me. And the teachers were really impressed. In a very short time, that managed to turn around. I managed to grasp the difficult language that seemed for me when I first came in. It was a turning around for me. It was a turning point for me. I've done my A-levels, my GCSEs, my A-levels, and all the way to university. As most of you know, it's difficult for the people who are native to the country doing UCAS, all these personal statements and all the rest of it, and you have to compete with the entire UK population or entire UK youth. Your competition is no longer with your community only or with the Kurdish speaking people. Your competition is with the people who are native here. They speak English from, they're born with it. They start learning the language when they are very small. I realize that's the competition that I'm in is not easy, but I'm sure with the hard work it pays off. I end up finishing my A-levels with good results, and I end up getting accepted at the university in London for civil engineering, which was my dream job. I've always had desire to do something that requires challenging and something that can the community benefit from. Engineering is a topic that the entire community, the entire country can benefit from. I was really pleased to be accepted at university for doing civil engineering. When I finished my civil engineering degree, I told myself, I said, remember how you started. You weren't able to speak a word of English. Now you speak the language. Now you learn the language. Now you know how to operate. Now you know how to study. Now you know how to research. Why are you stopping here? You're not just studying for yourself. I had something in the back of my mind that what I'm doing is not just for myself. It's for my community. For the people who are coming after me. For the people who are struggling like I was when I first came here. For the people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds, I'm doing it for them as well. I'm not just doing it for myself. Because if I can't do it, they will think they can do it as well. And that will lay the foundation for the new generations to come. I told myself, since I can research, since I can study, and I know the language now, it's a shame for me to stop here. I've started applying to do a master's degree in structural engineering, and this is what I did. I was accepted at City of London University to do structural engineering. And I was really good at it. I was enjoying it, and that has motivated me to continue. Finish my master's degree, and I was talking to myself once again. I said, why would I stop here? Let's do something else. And then I end up applying to do a PhD. I start doing my PhD. I'm not finished yet, by the way, but I started research in a topic that is very difficult. We might have engineers here. I'm researching in a topic called nanofibers that is mostly used in nuclear power stations. It might be difficult, but I know I can do it. If I have managed to break these barriers that were first present when I first came to this country, I'm sure I can do that. While I was studying my engineering, long before I start doing my PhD, I start joining Labour Party. And some people might think, why Labour Party out of all these other parties that exist in this country? Because I believe the Labour Party have the principles and the values that I share. And I believe the formation of the Labour Party, the formation of the party was to serve the people who are from disadvantaged background, for the people who are labourers, workers, the people who are, their voices are not always heard. So I told myself, this is the party that I want to be with. This is the party that I want to join. And they welcomed me with open arms. This is really amazing to find yourself in a new community, different community, and also politicians are not always easy to deal with. But with the help of the community, with the help of the activists, with the people who are like-minded myself that are in politics to serve the community, not themselves, I was able to do a lot of work for the community. I was turning up for the canvassing. I was turning up for the meeting, branch meeting, CLP meeting, all these meetings that are there to listen to the politician, to listen to the elected politician, to listen to the MPs, the councillors, and also the politician in the party as well. To listen to the community. And I told myself, this is what I want to do. I want to serve this community. I have been asked to serve as a councillor, to put myself forward to elected positions, but I've always told myself, I said, I'm not going to do it. I've got a lot of other stuff to do. Let me finish my education before I step in, before I take on a bigger role. But that has changed when I met few other people like our brother who just left, Afzal Khan. I've met few other people who were doing more difficult job than I was doing, and I was still doing politics, and I was serving the communities. I put myself forward to be considered to be a candidate only, because it's not easy to even be a candidate. You have to go through a lot of examinations, scrutinies. The branches and the CLPs, they will have to dig your past. That there's nothing in your history that brings a shame to the party. They call you up to grill you. They ask you all these questions why you want to be involved with politics, why you want to step in, why you want to be a councillor, why you want to be an MP. Thank God I'm not going to go into details. I think we have a lot of other stuff to cover. I'm not going into more details how I got elected, but it was not easy. A lot of filters to get elected. And you're competing with a lot of other people who are from here, who are their fathers and their forefathers have fought for this country. They're born here. They have their community here. They know the way around, and they have a lot of experience behind them. But that has not stopped me. And thank God I was elected, selected, then elected. You get to be selected by the party, then to be elected by the people. And that is an honor of my life. And then, like Brother Afzal was talking about, it was difficult to put myself forward to be a mayor. There's an elections among the councillors, and you have to convince everybody, or you have to earn their trust that you will be a good candidate. You will be able to represent your community. And thank God I was able to cross that barriers as well. And we are lucky in this country, because elsewhere in the world it's not always easy for people to speak up. Elsewhere in the world it's not easy for people who don't have a big machines or have not come from a rich families or powerful families to get involved with politics. But that is different here. But too often I hear from people who are from multi-ethnic background and multi-ethnic backgrounds and people like us, or especially the youth, they too often say that politics is not for me. Or what's the point? Nothing changed. I get that feeling, I understand, because I've gone through this. Politics can seem distant and full of barriers, full of people who don't always look like us, speak like us. But the truth is, if we don't step forward, somebody else will be doing the work for us. When I was attending schools, in the past few years, I was attending a lot of schools in my community. I was engaged with the youth. I was engaged with the people who are in their early teens or late teenagers. I was asking them whether they are interested in politics. Very few of them were interested in politics. The reason they are not interested in politics because they don't believe that politics is for them. But as soon as I break down what politics is, when I was asking them, how do you want your school look like? How do you want your street look like? What laws do you want for this country? How do you want to drive your cars? What speeds your car should be you should be able to drive? Or how your community should look like, how your streets look like, how they should be designed, whether you want to be involved with the decision making of the layout of your streets. All of a sudden, a lot more people were interested. A lot more people were interested in this. But this is what politics about. Politics is not just about the big decisions that they make in Westminster or in the town hall. It is about the community. It's about how your community looks like, how you build in your streets, you build in your schools, and helping your community growth. Okay, 3 minutes, yeah. Let me see what I want to cover in that 3 minutes. Yeah, so let's forget about what I've written here. My point is directly at the youth, the new generation who are born here. The difficulties that we had, you don't have that difficulties. You don't have to worry about the way you speak. You don't have to worry about learning the language. You don't have to worry about your family back home or your mommy and dad, whether you want to bring them over, they're still in danger or not. Your parents are here. Your family are here. Your dad and mom are here. And there's somebody else who's looking after you. And there are a lot of other people who are examples for you to follow. When we came here, we didn't have these examples to follow. We had to learn everything from the scratch. So take this opportunity, grab them with your open arm. Don't think that politics is not for you. Politics is for you. Don't wait for somebody else's permission. You don't need permission from no one. This is your country. You need to be part of it. You need to make a difference. You need to make sure the country is shaped the way you want. You need to be part of decision making. You cannot be standing on the sideline, because if you stand on the sideline, there's nothing that you can change. Like our brother was saying earlier, if you are not part of the game, you are an outsider. An outsider cannot make a change. If you are not happy with something, you can't change within. If you are complaining about how the country is dealing with a particular issue that is close to your heart, you got to get involved. And the only way to make that impact, the only way to make sure that the things that you are passionate about are discussed at Westminster, at your town halls, at your city halls, is through politics. There's no other way that you can have as much as impact as you could do through politics. I'm not saying that all of us should be in politics, but I'm saying it's one of the best ways to make a difference in our communities. But if you are talented in something else, follow your dreams. If you are good at math, there's no way, there's no barriers that you cannot be a professor in math that will help the new generation and solve issues for the community. If you're a good engineer, fair enough. But make sure you step in, don't stay on the sideline, and don't think because you are not from a wealthy background or you are not from a background of family from politics, the politics is not for you. Politics is for all of us, and don't wait. I cannot emphasize enough on this. Don't wait for anybody's permission to start politics. You got to make it and you got to start it. And I'm not going to hold you any longer. I'll pass it back to our brother. Thank you very much for hosting us here today. It is always great pleasure to meet you here in person. It's always great to have this type of events, to get to know each other, to learn from each other. I'm learning every day as I go along, and the motivation that I get from you, the encouragement that I get from you, this is what drives me forward, and this is what we should be doing. Unity is the key. We have to support one another. We have to learn from one another. But please, please, especially to the new generation, the opportunities, the sky is the limit. The opportunities are there for you. Just, you need to utilize them. You need to start now, not tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for our brothers, Sheikh Sarbaz Barzanji. We really appreciate that he responds our call, that he came all the way from London to here with the traffic and rain, and alhamdulillah, really his speech was very touching, very powerful, and we are learning. Our young people really learn from his experience. As he mentioned that he came all the way as a refugee, and then he was believing in himself, and he started working hard to become mayor of London, Lambeth. So this is not a small position. It's a great position for the Kurdish people. He came to England as a refugee, and he has no experience, and that's a good example for, if someone wants to be in the high position, he has to work very hard. He has to believe in themselves, and don't shy and learn from mistakes. Thank you very much again for your great speech. Thank you. We will pray Asr, inshallah, and then only 10 minutes, and we'll come back. We have another 2 speakers, inshallah. We'll finish it, and then about 5 o'clock, we have a Kurdish food, برنج فاصوليا مريشك زلطة inshallah. So we stay all inshallah. Let's take a break for 10 minutes inshallah. Who wants to make a wudu?